Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Got a Story for You. I'm Phil Junta, your host, writer, and sometimes story narrator on this here channel. We're actually caught up with all of the short stories that I want to read for you this year. We're all caught up with the ones that have been published. I'm up to about 34 or 35 short stories published now, and I've either read the entire story or the introduction, maybe the first couple of opening scenes, and we're all caught up with those. So this will be a very brief update. I know we're all busy for the holidays. I am as well. So just a couple of things that are going on. First and foremost, let me share my screen here with you. This is Smashwords. Smashwords is a retail site for ebooks, and every year at this time, they run an end of year sale. And the authors of their books who have books for sale here on Smashwords get the opportunity to reduce the price of their ebooks. So on Smashwords, I have two novels at the moment, By Your Side and Testing the Prisoner, both of which are normally $2.99. They are discounted 50% off until the new year, January 1st. They're $1.49 a piece in ebook format. So if you want to go to Smashwords, you can get all kinds of ebooks at discount, not just my own, but you can also just go right to the Smashwords main site and you can see their end of year sale here, and you can browse all the books that are on sale. You can see them right here on the homepage. That many of these are on sale for the holiday, for the end of year sale. So again, if you are interested in my work, you've not read any of my work yet, you want to get it cheap, you can first of all go on my website right over here on philjunta.com, and there's a free fiction link where you can read some short stories that I've written for free. And so just hit free fiction, and eventually that will pop up here, and you'll see a bunch of original fiction that I've written, as some of my friends have contributed as well over the years. And if you're a fan of Star Trek or Star Wars or anything like Indiana Jones, this is some of my fan fiction that I wrote decades ago, with the exception of the Kolchak story, which was just written a few years ago for an anthology. Unfortunately, they turned me down. Life of a writer. What can you say? Sometimes you get rejected. So here it is. I posted it here under fan fiction. It's a Kolchak, the Night Stalker story. But as you can see, there's some Star Trek, some Indiana Jones, some more Star Trek of various generations of Star Trek original series. There's some Next Gen DS9. There's Voyager. And all stuff that I wrote when I was a youngin', way back from my late high school days into college and a little bit after college as well. So kind of how I got my start in writing. So you can read all that for free. And if you like some of the later stuff here, some of my more original work, consider jumping over to Smashwords and maybe picking up one or both of these novels at a discounted rate. And the link for this will be in the notes below, of course, so you can just click right on it and it'll take you there, as well as my own website. So that's Smashwords for you. The other update I have for you is my next convention where I'll be showing up will be Farpoint. This is an annual convention in Maryland. I've been going since the beginning, so it's about 33 years, I think they've been in business, right? Since 1993 up there, so that'll be their, I guess this will be their 33rd Farpoint convention, January 30th to February 1st, in Towson, Maryland, I believe it is, at the Sheraton in Towson, right? So make your hotel reservation here, and that is at the Sheraton, Baltimore. This is a new place for Farpoint. They've bounced around a bit. They were at the Hunt Valley Marriott in Maryland, but the Marriott shut down in 2023. They then went over to, I think it was Pikesville, Maryland for a little while, for a couple of years. Now they're jumping over here to Towson. This is the old Volcon convention. For those of you who've been around long enough to go to the old Volcon Star Trek conventions, this is the hotel where Volcon was hosted. So now Farpoint is making their home there for at least this year. But they have some great guests this year. They have, if you're a fan of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, they have Jess Bush. They have Ross Marquand, David Gerrold, veteran author. I love David. I've been reading his books for years. He started very early in his career with Star Trek, with the original series. He was the writer of the Trouble with Tribbles episode of Star Trek. And we have Justina Ireland, who is the best-selling science fiction author, Jeff Klein, as well with Darby Pop Publishing. So those are just some of the more celebrity guests. And of course, as time goes on, if you go into programming and look at literary programming, they will start populating this page eventually with all of the writers who will be a guest at the convention, myself included. People like Robert Greenberger and Howard Weinstein, Michael Jan Friedman, Aaron Rosenberg, Keith R.A. DeCandido, a lot of other writers as well will be there. Daniel Ackley McPhail, Michael McPhail, a bunch of other people who are in my community that I'm always happy to see every year at conventions and other places. And that's my next show. Again, that's January 30th to February 1st in Maryland at the annual Farpoint Science Fiction Convention. Aside from that, the only other updates I have for you are some new short stories. I've been busy in October and November. I did not have an update show in November because I was busy writing new material. So I just submitted a Halloween story to one anthology. For those of you who've been following me, you know that each year I attend in October the Mindful Writers Retreat in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, out in the Allegheny Mountains. It's gorgeous all year, but especially in the autumn when the colors are just vibrant and just absolutely stunning. Every year, that group, the Mindful Writers Group, does produce an anthology of stories and poems and some essays by the members who attend. They're on their sixth anthology this year. It was called Retreat because we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the retreat, but they do a different theme every year. They've done beach, they've done weddings, they've done Christmas in the past, and every anthology supports a different charity. Our next one will be Halloween, and that's something I was very excited about because I love Halloween. And that'll be out next, I think, August or September, in time for, of course, the holiday. So I just submitted a story to that. I just wrote a haunted high school story. And that's not really for any specific anthology. It was just something that I had an idea based on characters and part of a plot from a novella that I'm working on. I kind of pilfered those elements from that and made a little short story that I'll be shopping around. And I just also wrote a sword and sorcery story, my first one of those. I've never attempted, I've written fantasy before. I've written mythology fantasy using gods and goddesses from various ancient pantheons of various cultures. I've done urban fantasies and I've done things like that, but I've not written specifically sword and sorcery. So I had to do a little bit of research, a little bit of reading, just to make sure I knew what I was doing. And I sat down and had a blast writing a sword and sorcery story for, actually, I'll show you who it's for. It's actually for a group called, let me jump over here for a second and I'll pull up the tab. They are a favorite publisher of mine called Oddity Prodigy Productions. They're a small press based in Delaware, and they produce wonderful anthologies. This is their most recent one, Where Legends Walk. That's a superhero anthology. This is their first novel published by one of their own, Jacob Jones Goldstein. Here's Bright Mirror. This is an anthology that I just published with them in May. I have a story in this one. And this is one that I did not have a story in. It's an urban fantasy one called Beneath the Yellow Lights, but I've read it. It's wonderful. And Scary Stuff, which is a horror anthology based on the old Tales from the Crypt comic books, the old EC comics like Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear. And I had a story in that. That was produced in 2020. So again, if you go to their store, you can see all these books. Again, Scary Stuff was the first time I published with them in 2020. I missed this one. Jumped back in with Bright Mirror. I have a science fiction story in that. And this is Jacob's first novel. He's one of the main members of Oddity Prodigy, one of the publishers and editors. And of course, Where Legends Walk is their most recent anthology, a superhero anthology. And I've got more than a few friends with stories in that. But their next project, I'm very excited about it. Let me just go back to their homepage if I can get back there. I'll just do the back arrow. Submissions are now open until December 31st for Tales of Steel and Sorcery. I just wrote a story for this. It's with my critique partners. They are tearing it apart and reviewing it and going to come back with their feedback around Christmas time, which will give me about a week to get all the edits done and send it off. But I'm looking forward to submitting to this one. So I'll include links to this in the notes below. You can just click on them. So that's really about it. That's really all I have. Is just again, just to let you know that the books are on sale at Smashwords. To let you know, my next show is Farpoint in Maryland in February or the end of January, and to let you know what I'm working on. Those three stories, like I mentioned, the Halloween story, the Haunted High School, which I'm shopping around, and Sword and Sorcery. Next year, what I'm looking to do, and it's already in play, is to release a collection of about 27 of my published stories. These will all be fantasies, paranormal, detective, not science fiction. I have about maybe less, a little less than a dozen science fiction stories. Those will be released in their own collection later. What I've decided to do is take a lot of the published stories that I've had out there for the past 15 years and at some readers' requests, actually, gather them together into a collection called Dreams from the Edge of Reality. Dreams from the Edge of Reality, again, 27 short stories. They've all been compiled, tweaked a little bit. I have cover art for it, and the book is currently out with 4 or 5 established authors who are reading it to give me hopefully a nice blurb if they like the book and that I can use for promotion. So we'll see about that. So I'll have more details about that in the next show after the new year. Again, that's called Dreams from the Edge of Reality. It's 27 short stories of fantasy, of paranormal, of detective, and even just some literary stories that really can't be pinned to a specific genre, just some good literary stuff. Um, the other thing I'm working on and have been working on for a long time, and I feel very ashamed that it isn't finished yet, is back in 2018, I published a novella called Like Mother, Like Daughters with Firebringer Press. This was a small press based in Baltimore. They produced the original versions, original editions of my novels, Testing the Prisoner and By Your Side. They decided to retire. The publisher, Stephen Wilson, decided to retire right around 2021. And so I got the rights back to those two novels and this one. And reissued them. So the ones I showed you earlier from Smashwords, those black covers and the characters in the cover, those are all those are re-edited and reissued by me over the past couple of years. 2023, I reissued Testing the Prisoner. 2024, I reissued By Your Side, and 2026, I will reissue Like Mother, Like Daughters. Now, again, this is a novella. It's a short novel. It's only 35,000 words. So what we did at Firebringer Press was we actually did one of the old if you remember the old double novels from Ace back in the 1950s and 60s, which I have one right here I can show you, um, they used to produce books like this, where you'd have a story on one side, a novella, and one on the other, but you flip the book upside down, and each story is upside down to the other. I have a collection of these. I love them. Steve Wilson, the Firebringer Press, has a collection of them. It's a format that we love. So when we put together our two novellas, his Stephen Wilson's vampire novella, Freedom's Blood, and we put it together with Flip It Upside Down, my novella, Like Mother, Like Daughters, which is actually you could call it the origin story of Miranda Lorenzen. She's the character, the main character in By Your Side. She's a psychic medium, and she's a supporting character in Testing the Prisoner, which was my first novel. And when I wrote Testing the Prisoner, I realized that the hero of that novel, Daniel, his story pretty much ended, but I could do a lot more with Miranda. She's a psychic medium. She leads a team of ghost hunters, and so I did By Your Side, and I also did this story, which shows, which actually describes and shows you Miranda's very first encounter with a ghost when she was 6 years old, which got her very much into the paranormal and got her into ghost hunting and paranormal investigating from a very young age. So um, I am writing a sequel to this, and I plan it to be a novella, not much longer than this one, like Mother Like Daughters, and I'll put the two of them together in one book. Not quite like this. I'm not going to do the ace double type of thing where you flip one upside down to the other. But I will put the sequel together with the original, and it'll be coming out hopefully this time next year. So by the holidays in 2026, I hope to have that done. I'm going through it, looking at where I left off. I haven't touched the project in about a year and a half. Shame on me again, right? So, so I am going through it and with fresh eyes, and I'm replotting it. I'm finding areas that I can tighten character relationships and I can tighten the plot a little bit more. And I'm sort of taking the outline that I originally wrote and the most of the first draft that I wrote back then and tightening it up, just going through it and improving it with fresh eyes and fresh thoughts and ideas. And hopefully I'll have that done by next year, again at this time, with cover art by Scott Barnett, who did the covers for the reissued versions of Testing the Prisoner and By Your Side. And that'll be sort of like a trilogy, if you will, of stories, of paranormal mystery stories starring Miranda Lorenzen. I'm very proud of that. So look for that next year, but of course I'll continue updating you on that as time goes on. So that's all I have. That's it. Hopefully this was not too long, and I wish you a happy holiday, safe and happy holiday, and I will see you in the new year. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.